I'm a op-ed writer for the school paper, and full disclosure, I wrote an article saying that I think you're a hack. Now, I came with an open mind, and I was disappointed to find that much like much of the current president's comments, yours are based on sort of shallow logic, lack of expertise, no real facts, and economic ignorance. But, and some conservatives have said that too, but I have a question about the broader conservative philosophy, and this gets back to what you said about trade. Now, you said that, we got to, get trade back in order. But with the trend in technology nowadays, the real threat is not trade and loss of jobs overseas, but automation, artificial intelligence, the replacement of many of the jobs that serve as a starting level for economic advancement. What role does conservatism have in a world in which machines and automation can take the place of much of human labor and activity that generates income and value for everyday people?
All right. Well, man, let me say this. If it is the case that in what I said tonight, and I put some fairly incendiary material on the table, if I had said something that was even arguably wrong, factually wrong, about the Democratic Party or about fascism or about Trump, it would be very easy for someone to point it out. So normally, if you're going to call someone a hack, you should kind of try to establish your own bona fides. It's okay. It's okay. Look, a certain amount of moral indignation is the staple of being a late teen. And so I think we should be indulgent.
Okay, so can we talk now, or are you going to keep shouting? Like, really, now's your chance to get it out. Let's hear your feeling. Come on. Just go for it. Or is it going to be like every 30 seconds? Like the annoying microwave timer. Like, you got anything more? You got anything more? Okay. Are we done? Thank you. All right. Social justice. Now, normally I don't like to do this, but if we have any peace officers, this actually is now a disturbance that we would like to get past so that we can actually have a discussion. If you guys want to talk, we can talk. If you want to shout, get the hell out. So, social justice is an oxymoron. Okay? If a guilty man is acquitted because he's the right race, that is anti-justice. If an innocent man is convicted because he's the wrong race, that's anti-justice. Social justice, however, suggests that your group identity, your identity as a person, relieves you of individual responsibility to be a decent human being. So you get to interrupt lectures if you're the right race or if you're the right gender or the right sexual orientation. You get to do these things without punishment because, after all, that's in the nature of social justice, group justice. We don't hold you responsible for your individual actions. You get extra points in heaven because you were born with a certain skin color or sexual orientation. Shame. Today, all you hardcore leftists call yourselves social justice warriors, and you do this because you believe that individual justice is racist and sexist and bigoted and homophobic. Individual justice suggests that we each be held responsible for our actions, but SJWs think that's unfair because we're not just individuals, of course, we're members of groups. Now, before we go any further, decency, 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 decency. Sorry. just have one question. Do you know me? Do I know you? Like, how do you know anything about me? Why am I a white supremacist? Because you guys are here shouting down people who are speaking. Really? Okay, last time. How what starts? What are you even talking about? What is it? And why, if you have a question, why don't you just ask it? I'm happy to talk with you, but this is nonsensical. This doesn't help. What was that? Well, then tell your people to sit down. We're having a question-answer period. Well, then, who are they? If you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. This is not productive. This is whiny nonsense.
To protect free speech, it is hate speech.
This and react as Democratic strategist, 2008 Clinton campaign advisor Richard Goodstein, and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Nice to see both of you this morning. Richard, I want to start with you. You hear that argument back and forth that the reason that Trump won was because they gave a platform to white supremacists. Do you buy that?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. Although I have to say, I was listening to your commentary earlier, and you talk about how Trump crushed Hillary. It's an odd term to use about somebody who got 2.5 million fewer votes, who got under 47% of the vote, less than Mitt Romney got. It's a funny way to talk about crushing somebody. I will say this, though. You know, we heard this term alt-right. That's a kind of an alt-reality, the notion that Trump did the crushing. Look, there are facts, Clayton. Trump tapped into the birther movement. He talked about Muslims and Mexicans. It's no coincidence that there have been hundreds and hundreds of racist and bigoted incidents ever since the election, and people saying Trump, Trump, Trump as the backbone for what they're doing. So look, Trump retweeted. He retweeted white supremacists. Right. So how is that not tapping into white supremacy? I don't get it.
Dinesh,
how is that even an argument?
Dinesh, does Richard have a point here that Trump didn't do anything to quell those individuals whose voices may be representative by the white supremacy movement and others? What do you say to that?
Well, this kind of white supremacy allegation is part of the modern Democratic playbook. I remember in 1980, people dragged out 5 toothless white supremacists and said to Reagan, you know, you're catering to white supremacy. You can look at these guys, they've endorsed you. And Reagan said, well, you notice that they may have endorsed me, but I haven't endorsed them. And I think this is the key issue, that the Democratic Party historically has been the party of white supremacy. All the institutions of white supremacy, from slavery to segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, lynching, these were created, promoted, and sustained by the Democratic Party. From the WikiLeaks revelations, we see that Democrats even now talk privately about blacks, about Hispanics, even about Catholics, in a way that you never see Republicans talk. There's nothing equivalent on the Republican side. So this is a scapegoat to try to explain an election result that is very embarrassing for the Democratic Party. They had more money, they had the organization, the Republican Party was divided, and still Trump won. That leaves these guys with a lot of explaining to do.
Richard, did the Democrats get the message, losing 200 counties that had once gone to Barack Obama in areas where this used to be the backbone of the Democratic Party, in West Virginia and in Pennsylvania and Michigan?
First of all, I have to say to Dinesh, you know, these incidents, these hundreds of incidents around the country where people are saying build the wall against Hispanic basketball players in a high school. That's not something that Democrats are making up. This is reality. I'm sorry. Look, to answer your question, Clayton, obviously there was a message problem that Democrats had. They're the ones who on trade deals are standing up for labor rights. They're the ones who are standing up for OSHA, for health and safety regulations when there's an effort to tear down regulations. They believe that they're the ones who have stood up for blue-collar, these white voters who they lost. No question, they lost them. And I think the Democrats have to figure out a way to reframe what they're doing to make sure people know that, just like Trump's taking credit for these 1,000 jobs and poo-pooing the 3.4 million jobs that were saved or created during the stimulus program. Look, there's message issues. Yes.
Well, let me address directly this issue about building the wall. Remember that the reason that we've seen this decimation of the white working class is due to the combined forces of technology, globalization, immigration. Trump was the only candidate directly addressing those issues. He said, I'll do something about immigration. I'll do something about trade. Obama and Hillary have done nothing about these issues and essentially been blaming third parties. Oh, it's CEOs and corporate jets. That's why you don't have a job. Trump was at least putting his finger on the right issue. You can't write it off to racism. It wasn't that at all.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there. Dinesh and Richard, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
How's it going, fellas? Hey, man. How are you? Good to see you, man. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
And don't let us in because...
Well, you may not be the only one, sir. Nice to meet you. Hey, good to... Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
You RSVP?
The group certainly knows I'm coming. I RSVP'd with as somebody listening in the audience. I RSVP'd as a speaker, and I RSVP'd as security. So if you have any other standards of RSVP that are necessary, I'm happy to fulfill those.
Give us 1 second.
Yeah. Sure.
Please. I'll help you out.
Can I help you out? Okay.
Alrighty. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing okay.
A little chilly, but it's November, right?
Seems like a lot of security for no protesters.
I'm not
Pretty
security.
for our events.
Let him speak.
Ben, you're the
How are
man.
you, sir?
Free country.
Sure.
Step over here for a minute.
Oh. How are you?
I'm the head of public safety.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. You know that you weren't registered, whatever, for the group didn't register you for the event. They have strict things,
Welcome to
so
Soviet
you're
Union.
not allowed, into the event.
Well, I mean, YAF did inform you that I was coming as a speaker, as a person sitting in the audience, as well as a member of Christina Hoff Sommers' team. So I'm not sure whether their standards are necessary. I'm also wondering exactly why it's so necessary to keep me personally out.
We're just following protocol, sir.
Well, why is your protocol to keep me specifically out?
What country protocol? Soviet Union or United
Do
States?
you want to step over here to decide?
Well, I'm happy to do it right here if you'd like. I mean, I don't think this needs to be private.
The bottom line is it's private property, okay?
I'm
It
fully
wasn't
aware.
proper procedures weren't followed, and you're not going to be allowed to.
So am I to understand that if I take 3 steps forward, you will attempt to have me arrested?
If you create a problem and you will not, leave the campus, yes.
Okay, so just to be clear, if I attempt to enter that hall right there and sit down just to listen to somebody speak, or if I attempt to ask a question or to engage in free speech, you will have me arrested.
At this point, yes, sir.
Okay, then I'm glad that we've clarified that situation. I'm also glad that in a city, I mean, clearly you have great security. I'm glad in a city that has some 4,000 shootings to this date, you have 30 members of security just for a 5'9", 165 Jewish guy. This is maybe a mild allocation of resources. Well, okay. Well, if that's the way we're going to do this, then we'll just do the events elsewhere, folks. So follow us. Here we go.
By the way, this is the general show of the future. Little guy that looks like he'll play violin.
Folks, we're going to be heading over, so here's the deal. What's the address of the place we're going?
We're going to the Green Room Theater. Green Room
Theater, 2 blocks that way. You know where it is?
We have an address?
What's that?
We have an address? It's actually 0.7 miles
guys
right
walking
down the
there?
road.
So we're going to be in a car. But it's called the Green Room Theater.
Green Room Theater.
We'll get there.
Green Room Theater.
And you guys are more than welcome to join us. This campus obviously doesn't give half a shit about free speech.
Listen, forget him.
Thanks for what you do, man.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks for coming out, guys.
You're my hero.
It's just a pity the administrators
you're
have
my
no
hero.
respect for you guys as students and as community members.
Jen recently showed you a picture of me playing violin that looks like you. That was me!
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Ben, can I shake your hand too?
Absolutely, guys.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank y'all for coming out. I really appreciate it. We'll see you 3 blocks over.
Thanks for coming out, Ben.
Absolutely.
I guess it was good that we
Hey, thanks a lot.
Ben, in 8 years you got to run for president. You understand? You have everything for it, okay? Go on.
Well, it depends. Will they allow me to speak?
We're gonna change Chicago. We have to change Chicago. Chicago is not lost city.
I'm glad that Rahm Emanuel can have a city where all of the illegal immigrants are allowed to stay sanctuary style. But if I come to speak at a university in the city, we have to ensure that I can't be allowed to do that. We'll see you guys like 3 blocks over, okay? It's called the Green Room Theater. Green Room Theater, okay?
Greenhouse Theater at Lincoln?
Yeah. You got it.
Go ahead, sir.
Do either of you feel our criminal justice system has become too political?
Our political justice system is a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe, and it's and what was exposed in Ferguson, that the criminal justice system is kind of powered. The financing of it is powered by the kind of targeting of poor people. That's true in Ferguson. It's true in Chicago. One of my sons is a public defender in San Francisco. He deals with poor people every day who are run through the system for the most petty things, and they absolutely are caught up in, in a vice that really steals from them and kind of purrs along in an oppressive way. So I think our criminal justice system is catastrophic and needs to be dramatically changed. One of the things I think is also catastrophic in it is that the political system is something that's now for sale. It's on the auction block. And Dinesh referred to his time in custody. Were you in custody? I'm not sure. He had an assistant.
I was in overnight custody.
He had an assistant drop him off at his sleeping quarters overnight. I offered to write him a letter to the judge asking him not to put Dinesh in prison. He turned it down because I was going to advocate that he go to North Carolina and register voters, which would fit the crime of corrupting the political process in New York. But no, I think the criminal justice system is deeply corrupt, and it's corrupted by politics.
Okay.
Okay.
The inequity of our criminal justice system is on full display right on this podium right here. So I gave $20,000 of my own money over the campaign finance limit. I got 8 months in overnight confinement.
8 months or 8 years?
8 months.
You said 8 years.
You bombed the Pentagon and tried to bomb all kinds of other things.
What are you cheering for?
How much time did you do in the slammer?
No, the fact is that you admitted to committing a felony, which you did, and it was a felony that was pretty serious in a democracy, which was an attempt to buy an election.
All right.
Attempt to buy an election.
Look, Bill, right about the time my case was going through the court, another fellow named Chatwal, another Asian Indian guy, we Asian Indians appear to specialize in campaigns finance violations. But in any event, this guy gave 180 grand in straw donations to Hillary Clinton and a whole group of Democrats. He was also found guilty of witness tampering, and he boasted about corruption. He goes before a judge in New York, a federal judge, no prison, no confinement. So here's my point. Yes, justice is a matter of did you break the law, but it's also a matter of does the penalty fit the crime? Do other guys who do the same thing get roughly the same offense? Under the Obama administration, I will say that progressive justice is a complete sham. It's an oxymoron.